are places along China's coast where the sea does not behave like the sea at all, where the currents twist into spirals no sailor can predict, where compasses falter, where entire fleets vanished from the records of emperors, merchants, and generals. I have spent my life following the traces left behind by those who dared to cross oceans before maps were trusted. But nothing prepared me for the call that came from the Bohai Sea, a region whispered about in maritime archaeology as a graveyard of forgotten dynasties. This time, our mission was not a temple, nor a tomb. It was a ship. A ship rumored to belong to a royal expedition from the Western Zhou era, around the time of the legendary King Mu of Zhou. A king who, according to ancient texts, sought the far edges of the world in pursuit of mythic wisdom, foreign craftsmen, and jade that drinks the moonlight. Official records list no maritime expeditions from his reign. But legends? Legends disagree. And now, sonar scans showed something lying 42 meters below the Bohai waves. A shape too symmetrical to be natural, too large to be a fishing vessel, and too ornate to be forgotten.
It's confirmed.
Our team for this dive is small. Eglius, host, but more often the stubborn explorer who goes first and comes back last. Anna, deep sea diver, calm even when the sea turns violent. Dr. Chu, marine archaeologist from Shanghai University. Amir, expert in ancient trade routes, a man whose fascination with Persian artifacts borders on obsession. And Kira, our FPV camera diver. Her job? Capture everything. The water today is heavy. That kind of heaviness you feel in your lungs before even touching the surface. The sea above Bohai is not clear blue. It is slate gray, thick with silt and sequits churned by centuries of storms. As we drop into the water, the world dissolves into muted greens. My voice echoes through the comms. Visibility about 4 meters. Stay close.
No drifting.
Kira's lights activate, slicing thin beams deeper into the blue-green void. And then we see it. A silhouette. Inverted. Tilted at 37 degrees. Buried in silt like a sleeping animal of wood and bronze. The hull emerges first. Carved beams, lacquered plates long faded, iron studs corroded into orange blooms. Dr. Cho's voice trembles. This construction, it's pre-Han. Maybe even Western Zhou. Impossible. Nothing of this size should exist from that era.
Craftsmanship on this
But it does,
It's exquisite.
and we're staring at it. A symbol glints faintly beneath algae, a circular knot pattern common in Zhou bronzework. But beneath it, something
What do you think
stranger,
of the break here?
a spiral. Not Chinese, not stylistic. Identical to the one we found in Saqqara. Identical to the stone mark in Herakleon. The spiral symbol clan? Here? Thousands of kilometers away from Egypt? Centuries apart? Yet carved with purpose. Hana steadies the camera on it. That confirms it, she whispers. They were here.
Alex, look.
We move toward the break in the hull, a fracture carved by impact with the seabed centuries ago. Inside is pitch black. FPV lights flicker across rows of collapsed ribs and half-devoured cargo crates. The ocean has already claimed most of it. But not all. Near the stern compartment, a box lies intact, sealed by bronze clasps sculpted as twin tigers.
Look, in the
Kira
drawer.
films while Dr. Cho clears sediment. A royal storage box, she murmurs. This shouldn't be underwater. This should be in a museum or a tomb. We pry the clasps open. Inside, green light. Not literal light, but the soft glow of polished stone reflecting our beams. Jade. Not one piece, dozens. Bracelets, amulets, ritual plaques.
Alex,
But
look,
one
the
object
map,
stands out.
It's real.
A jade ring,
I can't believe it.
but carved with a depressingly familiar shape. A spiral. Not Chinese. More like the spiral found in Heracleion. Smooth, perfect, mathematically precise. A style unknown in Zhou craftsmanship. Samir inhales sharply. A Persian traveler brought this here. It has to be. This carving style exists nowhere else in East Asia at that time. Our minds race. A Persian merchant worked with the Spiral Symbol clan, and his cargo reached a Chinese royal expedition, which means the clan's network wasn't continental. It was global. And then Hana freezes. Guys, look behind you. We turn our beams toward the inner bulkhead. Painted murals still cling to the wood, preserved by silt and darkness. A procession of figures. Long-robed officials carrying jade dishes. Foreign envoys with hooked noses and tall hats, unmistakably Near Eastern. But beneath them, a map, a painted route, a line that begins in the deserts west of Chang'an, then curves south, then east across the sea, then onto a symbol resembling two spirals intertwining. Maya's voice plays back in my memory from Saqqara. Spiral travelers. Here they were not myth. They were navigators. The mural tells of a journey across deserts and oceans, a trade route older than the Silk Road. And this ship, this ghostly hull beneath the Bohai waves, was part of it. Deeper inside the wreck, we find a sealed wooden chamber, roof collapsed but interior preserved.
Look, Alex.
Inside
The
lies a
crate.
large rectangular chest covered in verdigris. The inscriptions are Zhou era,
We found it.
but the design of the chest, Persian lid hinges, Phoenician corner brackets, Chinese interior lining, a hybrid object, a traveling reliquary. We
We're
open
almost
it
there,
slowly,
Lena.
and inside, an armor plate, bronze, etched with dragons twisting alongside, yes,
The sample retrieval
spirals.
was successful.
But the spirals are filled with tiny inlaid beads of turquoise,
depth readings
a
confirm the
hallmark
thermal
of
vents
Western
are
Asian
stable.
craftsmanship. The fusion is unmistakable. This object was made between
We
cultures,
did it, Alex. It was
not
magnificent
plundered,
down there.
commissioned.
Yeah.
Dr.
Yeah,
Cho
absolutely
whispers
stunning.
as if
Let's
afraid the
secure the
sea
gear.
will hear her. This was meant for King Mu himself. It's a royal funerary piece, but it never reached him. Which means the ship was carrying a royal delivery, a treasure meant for a king. But then why did it sink? Bad weather? Sabotage? Pirates? Or something else? We head toward the bow. A narrow corridor leads to the captain's quarters. Inside, we find a desk, collapsed, covered in silt. Underneath lies a wooden tablet, ink washed away except for a few characters. Fungnan, Zuiying, Wumen, wind from the south, shadows following. The spiral gate. I feel my stomach drop. The spiral gate. The same phrase found near Petra and in Knossos and beneath Heracleion. This ship wasn't merely on a trade mission. It was following a route known only to the Spiral clan, and it was heading towards something called the Gate. A surge of current shakes the wreck. Hana steadies herself. "We should turn back," she says. "The structure's unstable." She's right. But before we can retreat, Kira's camera catches something glinting beneath a fallen beam. Another chest? No. smaller, more personal, an envoy's case. Inside it, a stone tablet broken in half, etched with spirals, and a script none of us recognize. Not Chinese, not Persian, not Phoenician. Older, much older. The missing link. The proof the spiral symbol clan existed long before recorded history. And then, a deep, groaning roar fills the wreck. The bow shifts, a beam snaps, silt explodes around us. We're out of time. The wreck had begun to shift under the weight of centuries of water pressure. We signaled each other and slowly ascended, keeping the fragile artifacts in view. Every movement had to be deliberate. One wrong tug, one misjudged current, and the centuries-old wooden hull could collapse entirely. Back on the surface, the crew worked methodically. Hana coordinated the lifting of smaller finds, jade plaques, bronze fittings, a fragment of a chest lid, into protective containers. Dr. Chu documented every detail, carefully labeling each object, taking photographs, and sketching maps of their location within the wreck. We knew that retrieving everything in one dive was impossible. The wreck was unstable. Sediment clouds could obscure visibility, and sudden currents could sweep the lighter artifacts into the sea. In the makeshift lab aboard our research vessel, we began cataloging the artifacts. Facilitates, polished but lightly worn from centuries of sediment abrasion. Likely ceremonial objects intended for a royal collection, possibly for King Mu himself. Mixing fittings, showing both Zhou-era motifs and Near Eastern craftsmanship techniques, inlay patterns, rivet styles, and casting methods unfamiliar in China at the time. Wooden chest fragments, preserved under silt, some showing joint construction typical of Chinese cabinetry, while the hinges and corner brackets appear foreign. Samir reviewed the patterns on the artifacts, cross-referencing with records from early Persian and Phoenician trade. The technology exchange is undeniable, he noted. This is physical proof that there were maritime trade connections long before the Silk Road. Dr. Chu nodded. And it also suggests a higher level of organizational skill. A royal expedition would require precise navigation, record-keeping, and shipbuilding technology capable of withstanding the Bohai currents. Our next step was returning to the wreck for a detailed survey, not just artifact recovery, but mapping the site. We used multi-beam sonar and photogrammetry, creating a 3D map of the hull and surrounding seabed. The survey revealed 1. Third, ship rested at a 37-degree tilt, embedded partially in a sediment ridge, likely formed by strong winter currents over centuries. 2. Several crates and barrels lay displaced, scattered by water movement, suggesting the ship sank quickly, possibly after hitting a sandbank or submerged rocks near the Bohai Shoals. 3. No evidence of fire or weapon damage was visible. The sinking appears accidental, caused by poor weather or miscalculation of tides. This data helps confirm that the cargo, ceremonial jade, bronze fittings, and wooden chests, was preserved largely because of the rapid burial in silt, shielding it from erosion and biological activity. The spiral motifs on the jade and bronze remain a key puzzle. Archaeologists have noted similar spiral patterns in Near Eastern maritime cultures, typically representing water, journeys, or lineage. Their presence on Zhou-era Chinese artifacts suggests either premiership contact with foreign artisans or Zhou craftsmen imitating imported designs, likely through intermediary trade networks. In either case, this wreck provides the first material evidence of direct cultural exchange between ancient China and Western maritime civilizations centuries before commonly documented. Preserving the recovered artifacts is a delicate process. Jaded. Stable but needs cleaning from silt and mineral deposits without using acidic solutions. Bronze. Corrosion is active. Stabilization requires electrochemical reduction and controlled humidity. Warranty. Waterlogged wood must be impregnated with polyethylene glycol, PEG, to prevent shrinkage and cracking as it dries. Our team begins initial stabilization at sea using portable tanks with controlled salinity and temperature. Each step is documented meticulously, ensuring that we maintain the archaeological context, a critical factor in professional underwater archaeology. Piecing together the ship's story. 1. Determine royal expedition from the Zhou dynasty, likely under King Mu's authority, transported high-value ceremonial goods across the Bohai Sea. 2. The cargo reflects a combination of domestic craftsmanship and foreign influences, demonstrating early globalization of trade and culture. 3. Moderned spiral motifs and murals suggest that this was not a standard commercial voyage, but a carefully curated journey, perhaps a tribute, diplomatic gift, or ritual transport. The expedition highlights that maritime trade and cross-cultural exchange were far more advanced than previously believed. Ancient sailors navigated challenging coastal waters, relying on knowledge of tides, seasonal currents, and landmarks that remain difficult to trace today. The spiral patterns link this wreck to other distant sites. Artifacts in the eastern Mediterranean show similar spirals on ceramic and metalwork. Eastern trade records document goods reaching as far as China along overland and maritime routes, but tangible evidence has been scarce, until now. This discovery allows scholars to trace the movement of both material culture and artistic motifs, illustrating a complex network connecting early civilizations. As we ascend from the site for the final time, the wreck recedes into the silt, a ghostly monument to human ambition, ingenuity, and exchange. Back on the surface, the sea reflects the pale light of late afternoon. We catalog every recovered artifact, noting the exact GPS coordinates for future dives. The story of this ship, its crew, and its precious cargo is just beginning to unfold, one sediment-covered object at a time. Our work reminds us that history does not always rest in temples or tombs, but sometimes lies quietly beneath the waves, waiting for those willing to dive deep enough to uncover it. And somewhere in the Bohai Sea, the sunken hull of a Zhou dynasty expedition continues its silent vigil, holding secrets that have lain undisturbed for millennia, bridging cultures, oceans, and the long-forgotten ambitions of a king who once sought the edge of the world.